Hello, my dear friends. Oh, it's always such a comfort to sit down with you like this again. I've got my tea here. The mint one I let steep just a little longer because I like it strong and comforting. And the house is so quiet, except for that old clock on the mantel. Tick, tick, tick. You know that sound? When I was younger, it used to make me anxious, like time was running away from me. Now it just feels like a gentle friend saying, "There's no hurry, sweetheart. Everything in its own time." Today, I want to talk with you about something that took me so many years to really understand. Something small and quiet, but so powerful. Patience. How patience is really the secret, the soft, hidden secret behind the strongest, most lasting love we can find in these golden years of ours. Not the quick, burning kind we chased when we were young, but the slow, deep, steady kind. The kind that doesn't demand everything right this minute. It just waits, watches, listens, and grows when the moment is ready. I've seen it happen so many times now, and every single time it touches my heart all over again. It reminds me that the best things in life, they don't rush. They take their time, and they're worth every second of waiting. Let me tell you about Beatrice first. Sweet Beatrice. She was 68 when she met Harold at that little senior walking group in the park near her house. Beatrice had been divorced for 15 long years. Her ex-husband had been impatient, always wanting everything faster, louder, now. After him, she quietly promised herself, "No one will ever hurry me again." Harold was 71, a widower. His wife had passed after a long illness, and he still carried that gentle sadness in his eyes. He walked with a slight limp from an old knee injury, but he never complained. He just showed up every Tuesday and Thursday, same path, same time, same slow steps. Beatrice noticed him because he always carried this tiny thermos of tea, and if anyone looked tired, he'd offer a little cup without making a fuss. At first, they barely spoke, just walked in the same group, nodded hello. Sometimes their footsteps matched up by accident. Months went by like that. Then one day, Harold said quietly, "You have such a peaceful way of walking, Beatrice. It's nice to match your pace." She smiled. No pressure, no big words, just an observation. And something inside her softened. They started walking side by side more often. Not every day, not even every week, just when their paths crossed naturally. They talked about the weather, about the ducks in the pond, about how the leaves look different every season. Nothing deep at first, just little things. But those little things added up. One morning, Harold said, "I'm not in a hurry anymore. I just like being here, with you." Beatrice told me later, with tears in her eyes, "That was the moment I felt truly safe. No one had ever given me time like that before." They didn't rush into dating. They didn't call it anything for almost a year. They just kept showing up, kept walking, kept talking. Now they've been married 2 years. Beatrice says, "Patience didn't make us wait forever. It made us sure. And that sureness, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever known." Patience isn't loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or big declarations. It's small. It's quiet. It's choosing to stay when every part of you wants to ask, "When? When will this happen?" It's giving someone the space to trust again. It's not pushing for answers before they're ready. And then our golden years, when we've already rushed through so much, when we've already been hurt by hurry, patience becomes the most loving thing we can give and receive. I think of Clara and Daniel from the watercolor class. Clara was 64, just out of a marriage where everything had to happen fast. Kids, house, career, all on a strict schedule. Daniel was 68, still quietly grieving his wife. They sat next to each other at the easels every Wednesday. At first, they barely spoke. Clara painted soft skies. Daniel painted flowers. Very badly, but with so much heart. One day, Clara noticed his hand shaking just a little. She didn't say anything right away. She just slid her extra brush over to him and said softly, "Take your time, Daniel. The paint isn't going anywhere." He looked at her like she'd handed him something precious. They started sharing palettes, then little tips, then stories. Months passed before either of them mentioned coffee. Even then it was gentle. "If you're ever free sometime." No pressure, no timeline. They met slowly. Short walks, simple lunches, quiet evenings on her porch. When Daniel finally said, "I love you," it was after almost 2 years of knowing each other. Clara told me with a shy smile, "I used to think love had an expiration date. Turns out it just needed more time to ripen." And then there's Margaret and Tom. You may remember them from earlier. They met in that same little book club by the lake. Margaret was 68, widowed. Tom was 67, divorced. They didn't jump into anything. They didn't call it dating. They just kept showing up to the club, sitting near each other, talking about the books, and slowly, about life. Margaret's late husband had been impatient, always wanting more, faster. Tom had learned patience the hard way during the slow crumbling of his own marriage. So they took their time. Coffee after book club, walks by the water, months before a first real dinner together. When they finally married, it was small, simple, surrounded by people who had watched it grow slowly. Margaret says, "Patience didn't make us wait forever. It made us certain. And certainty, that's a gift I never had before." I've seen it so many times. The couple who met at the animal shelter, she walked dogs, he cleaned kennels. They barely spoke for weeks, just worked quietly side by side. Then one day she asked if he needed help with a stubborn pup. That small question turned into conversations, then shared shifts, then shared dinners. 2 years later, they adopted a dog together, and then adopted each other. Or the man and woman who reconnected at a 50-year class reunion. They hadn't spoken since high school. They didn't rush. They exchanged emails, then letters, then phone calls, then visits. 4 years later, they married, quietly, gratefully. Both said, "This time we didn't hurry," and that made all the difference. Patience isn't passive. It's active kindness. It's choosing to stay present instead of pushing for more. It's listening when someone talks about their fears instead of jumping in to fix them. It's letting silences be comfortable instead of awkward. It's saying, "There's no rush," when everything inside you wants to know, what are we? And in our later years, when we've already rushed through so much life, patience becomes the gentlest, most loving thing we can offer and receive. I know it can feel frightening. After 60, we've been hurt. We've waited before and been disappointed. We've given chances and been wounded. But that's exactly why patience now feels different. We're not waiting out of fear anymore. We're waiting out of wisdom. We know what lasts, we know what breaks, and we know that the best things, they grow slowly. So let me ask you something very softly. When was the last time you gave yourself or someone else the gift of time? When did you last say, "I'll wait," instead of, "I need to know now"? Have you ever felt that quiet strength in waiting and watched something beautiful slowly grow from it? Write it in the comments, even just one little sentence. "I waited, and it was worth it." Or, "I'm learning to be patient again. I read every word, and they touch my heart more than you know." If this quiet talk gave even a small corner of your heart a little peace, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe so we can keep meeting like this every week. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. I'm so grateful you're here with me. Take good care of your patient, beautiful hearts. They've carried you through so much, and they still have so much love left to give. Until next time, I'll be right here with tea and an open heart.